All right, guys, just give us a moment. I'm going to go ahead and get a link. Just one moment. I apologize. Let's go ahead and grab a link to our live stream. We'll get started here. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and get this posted in our Discord. Just a second. Let's post this in the general chat. Okay. That should be it there. There we go. Cool. All right. Let's see here. I'm using a little bit of different software, so apologize. Go ahead and let me know if you can hear me. I just want to make sure you can hear me, you can see me, all that's good. Go ahead and comment something if you wouldn't mind. I'd appreciate it. Hey, Orca, how you doing? All right. Yeah, well, we're doing a live AMA. Actually, we've had live AMAs, but not like with me on camera or anything. So this is the first time. Clear, everybody can hear me. Cool. Thanks, guys. Passive Income Cowboy, how you doing? Beast 24, Tyson, Russ, Orca. Good vibes. Good vibes, man. You got the name. You picked the right name. You got the name down for sure. Love it. Good vibes. That's what we're all about. Got to be all about that, right? And just to touch on briefly, so we've seen, I think, capitulation in crypto. We see crypto falling. We see equities falling. We see precious metals falling. Meanwhile, inflation's going up. Meanwhile, a lot of commodities are going up, right? So that's a double-edged sword. In some places, taxes are going up. You can believe it. So I started thinking about this and thinking, there's a lot of people who went into crypto full time. I'm not going to say that was right or wrong based on what the market was doing, but I started thinking about, so for the people who did that, a question I would ask is, and even if you didn't do that, right, with all these things going on in our economic environment, we don't know how long this downtrend in the market's going to last. Some are calling it a bear market. Some are calling it a downtrend. If this lasts a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, who knows? The question is, can you survive it? Right? That's the question. Cash flow is king, and the hodling is great. I'm a hodler. I get it. I'm there, but cash flow is king, right? So, without a lot of money put away, can you survive that? And, Lord knows the events coming up, right, in the economic environment as well. So I really think that what we're doing at Zeta is coming at the right time, frankly, because I was mentioning this in the Discord that the service is might be coming out right when we're in a bear market, which is going to give people the opportunity to buy this dip, potentially. So I started thinking about that. And the thing is that even if you were in equities, even if you were in precious metals, gold and silver, I'm a big silver guy. So believe me, I watched the silver price too. And there hasn't really been a safe haven unless you bought like certain commodities like oil. If you purchased oil, you'd be probably okay right now. But, commodities going up, inflation, markets crashing, we have to start thinking midterm and long term. So that's where I think the utility inside of Zeta is already unique, but it's coming about at a really needed time, not just because the space has been so bad to people, but because the economic environment's been bad to people. I mean, even real estate, it depends. And again, when I bring these up, it kind of depends on where you live. United States is what I'm speaking here. Even real estate right now is going down. It'll probably go back up like all markets, but we have some time here. So what do we do in that time frame? And that's where that passive income, I think, comes really important. I know a lot of people, that word has almost become like a 4-letter word. It's not that that's bad in DeFi. It's that we have bad projects in DeFi, right? It doesn't make passive income in of itself bad. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. Go ahead and go over there and give us a subscribe. I'm right now live on my channel, my Twitter, the Zeta Capital channel, and the Zeta Capital Twitter, just to get it out there, right? So got a number of people from all sorts of different areas. You might know about Zeta, you might not know about Zeta, but I'm broadcasting it to everyone anyway. So today is an AMA Q&A. I've got some pre-submitted questions. If you have questions, put them somewhere. I mean, whichever one of those 4 channels you happen to be on, and I'll try to get to them if we have some time as well. I just wanted to bring something up. So I made a tweet the other day or two ago about the 80-20 rule. And I just wanted to cover it really quick because as I'm thinking about these markets, there's something like 6,000 projects in cryptocurrency right now. I think it may even be more than that. And we know that not all of them are going to make it, right? We know that with those 6,000 projects, 80-20 is probably even too conservative, frankly. It's almost probably more like a 95-5 rule in crypto, just because there's so much junk out there. But when I start to look at stuff like this, I'm thinking there's only going to be 20% that are likely going to make it. Probably less, far less than that, to be honest, but just sticking with the 80-20 rule. So being able to do your research and being able to know what you're looking at and being able to pick the good from the bad, you're not going to always win. I've lost many times, but I made a tweet the other day about the 80-20 rule, and it really applies to crypto. It applies to health. It applies to your relationships, your faith, business, almost anything you can think of, which is that the 80% of the results you obtain generally come from just 20% of the actions that you take. So the reason that I like that is because the inverse is true. And the inverse is that we spend a vast majority of our time in the 80% effort range, right? We're busy being busy, but we're not busy oftentimes being productive. And when I look at the crypto space, there's going to be a very small number of projects that are going to make it. And from my perspective, I'm looking at who's being innovative, who's evolving from the project before it. Because if you're not evolving from the project before it, you're not getting any better. You're not bettering the space. You're not bettering the people in this space, because we're just hopping from one thing to the other with really no innovation and no evolution in that. And in my opinion, that kind of gives blockchain sort of a bad name. So I truly believe that Zeta is that 20%. Again, it's much lower than 20%, but that's doing something different, and that has the utility behind it that other projects just don't have. I mean, I was looking at a couple projects today without mentioning who they are, and I'm looking at them thinking, how do you make money? How do you make money? And I oftentimes have a difficult time answering that question for projects, because a lot of time they reinvested back into the crypto space, and they did this months ago before it crashed. So I'm thinking, how are you going to survive this market? How are you going to survive? So you will see, I think, in my opinion, that trading bots will be sort of a catchphrase, right? So nodes was a catchphrase at one point. RPC endpoints was a catchphrase. I think trading bots will be sort of a next catchphrase that you'll see a lot of projects start to hone in on, and because they're going to be looking for passive income outside of the crypto space. As great as the crypto space is, you want a diversified approach. And you'll see that in the August profits report as well. So we're going to be showing an August profits report from the Zeta Capital Fund. And you're going to see the wins, the losses, and everything basically in between. What I'm going to do really briefly here. So we have some pre-submitted questions, but go ahead and please post your questions, and you can post them in the Discord. If you are in the Discord, please go ahead and post them in the AMA questions channel. I'll try to get them if I can, but if you post them as comments, it'd be a lot easier. And then if we have time, we'll go ahead and get to them. So we do have some updates. I will share the August profits report at the end of this, but we'll do some updates, some questions, and then the profits report, and then we will wrap up from there. So I do have some updates from Metaverse Us. So if you don't know, that's one of the projects we've invested in. We invested in that before the pre-sale was launched, right? So even in the pre-sale, we were post-revenue. That's my point, is that a lot of projects, and this isn't to harp on what people are doing wrong, nobody's perfect, but when you are taking money from people and you don't have a way to make money, that's a pretty big gamble. But when you're giving money to people who already have made money, that's a very different kind of scenario. So Metaverse Us, matter of fact, let me go ahead on our website. I think you can see our website here. It was one of the projects that we had invested in. Let me scroll down. Metaverse Us right here, $750,000. There's a pre-alpha investor preview. Go ahead and check this out. I'm not going to play. I might go to their website. Let's go to their website real quick. And just to give you a feel for who these guys are, they are building a metaverse. Now, I'm not like a huge metaverse guy, but I know a good one from a bad one. And this is one of the better ones that I've seen. Go ahead and watch the trailer, scroll through this website. We're going to be doing a lot more with our partnerships. There's so much to build that I'm thinking, okay, let's start focusing on some of these, not just investments, it's a partnership. And a partnership is a relationship where both sides make each other successful. Okay. So Metaverse Us is, of course, you can see a great metaverse. It has, that's funny. It has like a lot of role-playing elements to it, like a Grand Theft Auto, a lot of Fortnite kind of concepts and things like that. Moray is the one I'm going to be start doing some content with, some AMAs, some just cross collaboration with our communities, by the way, and do some more content with our partnerships, because these are strategic partnerships that are for a reason. And of course, you can see right here, if I zoom in, I got to zoom in way, whoop, I zoomed in too far. You can see that we've been added to the site right here, Zeta Capital, partners and investors. You can also see this with Aloha's website as well. We've been added as a partner on there as well. But I do have some updates I'm going to read here from Metaverse Us. Let's see. They have begun some marketing. I'm not going to say who they're doing marketing with, all that kind of stuff. They have a marketplace development completed. Okay, so there's going to be a marketplace inside the game. So that's finished. The actual gameplay activities are finalized and finished. The token minting and smart contract is almost finished. There's just a couple things they need to do there. They've initiated some new partnerships. They have finished their alpha development on 3 different worlds. Let's see if I'm going to read this properly. It looks like Skateverse, Fashionverse, and Wild West Verse. Okay, these are just different worlds that they have in the game. Finalize on exchange listings. They are completed with that. And they are also in progress of creating initial NFT assets for inside the game as well. And they are working on a brand new website, right? So anyway, I'm going to try to, no guarantees, I'm going to try to see when I meet with them and do some content, some cross collaboration, if we can't open something up for some of you guys inside of Zeta to maybe get like an early trial run at this, maybe an early alpha, or actually I think it'd be technically beta because they're finished in alpha stage, an early beta access to this metaverse. No guarantees, but I'll go ahead and see what we can do. And that's actually going to go for all the partnerships. I want to get you guys involved in these, because these are looking into Metaverse Us. Go ahead and look into this. Go ahead and look into Aloha and Shaka and the training academy they're doing. We're doing a lot of stuff with them. I can't talk about it yet, but I do want to try to give you guys early access to a lot of this stuff, because that's one of the benefits. It's not just that these projects make the Zeta Capital Fund money, which is a value that then gets passed on to you as zone holders. It's not just that it's a partnership, but that it's something that allows our community to get involved in. And I think that is super important. So that's a little information about Metaverse Us. Go ahead and check them out, metaverseus.world. I think that's how you say it, Metaverse Us, right? Let's see. So something else I'll also mention is that Zeta Capital is going to be sponsoring a event. It's actually one of the next events at the House of Lords in London. That's going to be sponsored by Zeta Capital and Aloha. However, because the Queen did pass away today, there is a parliament shutdown and some delays. I think there's like a 10-day like mourning and transitional period that they go through. So it's been put off a little bit, but I just wanted to mention that we'll have some content information out. And that's really, it's a great way to collaborate with big projects. It's a great way to collaborate with big investors. It's a great way to collaborate with people who are looking for sort of the next big thing in crypto. And we will have some folks there presenting on behalf of Zeta Capital. So again, when that's ready, when there's actually a date that's been set, because the date literally this morning got canceled because of the Queen's passing. So when there's more information about that, we'll go ahead and get that updated for all of you guys. Okay, so appreciate that. That will be pretty cool. Pretty cool, I think. It's we haven't started any marketing yet. And I know you guys are when marketing, that's actually the new sort of meme in Zeta, when marketing. We want to get the product fully fleshed out, meaning that the services need to be ready, right? And that when we push this thing out, it's a fully fleshed out project that people come and see what it's doing, see how it works, and they can immediately get kind of involved. So that's kind of the concept behind it, is to have the utility, have the use case, and then push out that marketing. And we have a lot of different ideas about that. So kind of hold on to your hats there, if you wouldn't mind. So I have some questions. I'm going to go through the questions. Again, you got some questions, post them, please, and we'll see what we can do. Maybe we can get to some of them. Maybe we can't. Never know. How you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Omar's here. How you doing? Good to see you as well. Let's see. So I just want to read through some of these here. So sorry, I'm going to get this name wrong. I won't even say the name. Asked, not sure if this has been asked or answered, but thinking long term, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, if or when Zeta is still around, will there be pathways in place that would allow a Zeta member who has built their portfolio and net worth big enough that they will be able to transition to working directly as a client with Gaxis instead of through the Zeta circumvention? And he's mainly asking because of the performance fees. Well, you can go work with them right now if you have the net worth. So, I mean, look, I'm not going to give, and none of this, by the way, is financial advice, legal advice, any advice. There's no advice in this video. This is taking questions from the community, giving answers to the best of my ability, representing what it is we're doing with Zeta Capital, not offering legal or financial advice. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there as we're getting into the questions. But my goal is to get you guys to the point where you could do that. Right now, there still will be benefits of working with Zeta because I'll mention this. So we have a partnership with Gaxis, right? You, through different zone tiers, get access to a lot of Gaxis services, right? Well, there's nothing stopping us from doing that as well with our other partnerships. So go and look at the projects we've invested in, go and look at the partnerships. There's no reason why we could not open up zone tiers to give you guys access to certain things through all of our partnerships now and down the road, right? So yes, you could do that. You could do that now, but I think there still will be a benefit of working with Zeta because we'll have other partnerships in crypto, in traditional finance, and kind of all of the above. They're going to unlock, I think, some early access to things, as well as some other opportunities that you potentially wouldn't be able to get unless you owned a certain number of zones. So that's in discussion, of course. But yeah, no, look, my intention is to make up for the damage that the space has done to a lot of people. And it seems like every day now I'm reading more people got hurt, more people have had, I didn't want to mention the stories I've read because they're too sad, but my intention is to make up for that with Zeta. That is my goal, right? So if that means that you guys do so well that you could go and work with like a wealth management firm by yourself without Zeta, congratulations. I would see my mission as accomplished, essentially, right? So I hope that answers your question, right? So somebody, Dark Lord GR, is asking, how safe is our money when deposited into the services? Do we have insurance? Let's say the world ends. Let's say the world ends and Gaxis faces difficulties. Will we lose our money? Well, if the world ends, you've got much bigger issues than your money in an account. But I understand the question. Look, whenever you are investing, what is it that you're doing? You are taking a certain amount of risk for a certain amount of reward, with the anticipation of a reward, I should say, above and beyond the principal that you put in. That's essentially what investing is. So anytime you invest, it's risky. If you purchased Bitcoin when all the hype was going on and it was 40, 50, 60K, all the way up to 69, and you held because the space said to hodl, and I agree with hodling, you take your profits, but you would be down dramatically right now, right? 70, 80%, I don't even know what it is anymore. But the point I'm trying to say is that every investment has a degree of risk, right? This is no different. There's no such thing as a guaranteed win. There's no such thing as a golden parachute that you're going to put your money into something and guaranteed that it's going to have a return. And I think that when I first presented some of the financial services, I think I did a little bit of a disservice in that I didn't pound the table that these are not guaranteed. And people kept saying, well, you can't guarantee anything. And I wasn't trying to guarantee anything. I was just trying to show past performance. And that's really all it was. So that's why I keep honing in on the fact that nothing is guaranteed. There is no such thing as a guaranteed return. So I bring that up to answer your question because there is no such thing as hey, if Gaxis faces difficulties because the world ends, and I think really what you meant was just some economic event, will we get our money back? Well, if you put your money into an investment vehicle and the equities market crash and you lose your money and you now have unrealized losses and you pull out, you're going to have a loss that's now realized, right? So there is no such thing as having an investment that doesn't carry any degree of risk at all. I mean, there's been literal equities that have gone to zero. Which one was it? It was gosh, it's escaping me. It wasn't Washington Mutual. It was a firm bank that I remember about 9 to 12 years ago that actually went basically to zero. So even that can happen even in the equities market. But that's. I just want to hone in the fact that there is no such thing as investing that doesn't carry a degree of risk. Okay. There's no guarantee of returns. Putting your money into nodes, zones, Bitcoin, stocks, precious metal, real estate, financial services is all a risk. You can make money. You can also lose money. Okay. So that's kind of the best answer. I hope that helps. And then maybe it's not a full answer to what you wanted, but I think that's kind of the best answer that I have for you at the moment. Arky has asked a question. He's got 2 questions. We'll go over them one at a time. He says, number 1, if I get to 25 zones and my goal is to use tier 2 services, so private equity, do I have to keep building zones and just bypass the tier 1? So if you have 25 and you want to use private equity, you now need to get to 50. Okay, so 25 unlocks the first one, 50 unlocks private equity, and 75 unlocks a high frequency trading. So yes, if you have 25 and you wanted to participate with private equity, you would need 50. Okay. Once I reach the amount for a desired service and apply the zones, we'll correct that in a minute. Is the value of those zones used in that service, or do I have to apply? Okay. So I've seen this question asked a couple of times. When you have a certain number of zones, you're not sacrificing your zones. It's not like, you have 10 Zeta token, right? You put it in, you get 1 zone. Okay, that zone is there as long as you pay your fees up to 1 year. Okay, you have 25 of those, just as an example. You now have access to the blue chip service once it's available. At that moment, you then can use your Zeta tokens to move them into the service. Okay, it's an equities trading service that's managed by a wealth manager. Okay, that's what that is. They're trading in and out of equities for you. That is a service that will stay unlocked for you as long as you maintain 25 zones. But remember, your zones expire every year. So there's some strategy that you have to implement into this. But that creates continuous buying pressure. Nothing is lifetime. I've always said that. And it allows a utility with the token and allows you to do something with your rewards besides sell. And I've always said, what if you had so many options that selling would be the last thing you'd want to do? So with private equity, same thing. You get to 50. You've now unlocked private equity once it's available. You can now use your Zeta tokens to put them into the private equity. So if it's $100 a token, as an example, and you have 10 tokens, you have $1,000. The moment you put those 10 Zeta tokens in, it's $1,000 that gets locked in. Okay, and then that now gets invested into the private equity. Same thing goes for high frequency trading. But once you unlock 50, you have private equity and the blue chip. So it's not like you have to choose. Once you unlock 75, you now have high frequency trading, private equity, and the blue chip. You don't have to choose, right? You can choose to do all 3 if you want to do that. But you're not like, oh, here's my zones in exchange for it. That's not how it works. You still keep your zones. So now you have a few options. You can move your tokens into the services, all 3 if you want, but you're still earning Zeta tokens per day with your zones as long as you keep them. So now you have another option. Do you keep moving them in? Do you take a little ROI? Do you wait for the next service? Because 3 is not where we're stopping. Okay. So there's all these different strategies, but you have to maintain those zones in order to maintain the services. So it's a buying pressure, it's a utility, and it's a real use case. Hope that helps answer that question. Let's see. I'm going to throw a picture up here. You guys want to see a picture? Break the monotony of questions. You've seen this picture. I'm going to beat this horse to death, but I'm going to show it anyway. I know you've seen this picture a million times, what success looks like. I'm sorry, let me move it around my head. What people think it looks like and what it really looks like. I just kind of break up the monotony. You guys stare at this a little bit as we're going through these questions. I'll explain it in a minute. Most of you have seen my videos. You know exactly what it means. I'll explain it anyway. Juan, he asked a question. He says, how and when are you looking to add properties to our portfolio? On the website, it says Zeta will also be investing in global real estate. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like the Zeta Capital Fund is diversified, and you'll see this in a minute. Well, not in a minute, but at the end when I show you the August report, it's diversified, and that's for good reason, because some will do better, some will do worse, others will be just like right in the middle. And that classic 80-20 rule, once again, you'll see is in play in a moment when I show you. But new additions to the Zeta Capital Fund will come over time, just like new additions to the financial services will come over time. Most people would say, why do you need anything beyond 75 zones for the financial services? Well, because you want to reward people who have worked up to that and are now, it's my goal, making a return out of the high frequency trading to then come back and work up towards something else, maybe even better, maybe not even better, maybe just different. Maybe that's at 150 zones as an example. So a business is only as effective as its product offering. You want to continue offering something greater and better. I mean, I literally think the blue chip, the private equity, and HFT are literally in order, right? Just of which one is like base layer. Private equity is more unique. HFT is even more unique, right? So the goal is to continue offering something, is to continue giving you something new and fresh and better, more options with your token, more utility, more use case, more opportunities. Like, for example, I mentioned earlier that with partnerships with partners other than Gaxis, there's no reason we couldn't pull them in and provide offerings at different zone tiers. There's no reason we couldn't do that. By the way, we have projects reaching out that want to talk in the DeFi space. So we'll see how these pan out. But the point I'm trying to make is this is a journey, right? We never want to have an ending point. We just want to have something greater and better continuously. So that would go with the Zeta Capital Fund as well, adding real estate. Maybe we add crypto at some point, right? Maybe there's some cryptocurrencies that are doing well that we can add. Maybe we add some precious metals holdings. I mean, there's all sorts of things that can be added. So this is an evolution over time. So I don't know if that truly answers your question, but just know that the Zeta Capital Fund, as well as the financial services offerings, will continue. And I'm using the word financial services, but with other partnerships, it could be something completely, different, which wouldn't really qualify as financial services. So I'll just say services. Those are all going to go through a continuous evolution of improvement. That's actually, and I'll mention this briefly. When you think of the three services, you think of vertical growth, right? Blue chip, private equity, high frequency trading, right? There's no reason why you couldn't have horizontal growth inside of those somehow, right? So these are all things that we're discussing, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. Founders should be servants to their communities, not the other way around. We have too much. I don't even want to get into this, but too many prisoners of war have been captive in projects they can't get out of because the founders don't know what they're doing, and they literally hold their community hostage at gunpoint. Should be the other way around. You should be looking to improve what you're offering to the community. You should be looking to improve their utility. You should be looking to make them more confident with what you're doing and the hard work you're putting in, not less confident. That's not the route you should be taking. So, long answer to a very short question. Appreciate the question. Thank you, Juan. So I'll explain this image real quick. You guys have seen this a million times. Success. What people think it looks like on the left, what it really looks like on the right. And I've actually made this comparison with a chart. You can make this comparison with the Zeta token chart if you want, or Bitcoin, or whatever, or any crypto, any equity. It doesn't have to be any chart. That's a good example. You have things that go up, they come down, they go sideways, they do twists, as you can see in the image here. But the key thing is that the trend is overall going up. Even if it goes down and sideways, it's going up, right? Over time, you want the trend to be upward. Even if that time is a day, a month, a year, a decade, it doesn't matter what it is. This can apply to anything that you are working towards in life. We think when we get into something, and I've been in business enough to know this, you picture in your mind the absolute best case scenario. This is how it's going to work out. It's going to be perfect. you think of all the things that are going to go right. Okay, you get into it and you realize that's not quite how it is. You hit bumps in the road, you hit maybe money problems, manpower, employee problems, logistics problems, marketing problems, whatever it may be. But over time, you'll notice both of these arrows end in the exact same place. And that is life in general. Nothing's perfect and nothing goes up in a straight line. And I've always said this before, it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. And this is a great example of that. Crypto Cowboy asked a great question. It's about accelerators. I think some of these questions were answered by other people, but I want to give an answer anyway, just because, he's writing the question and I should give an answer to the question. Once accelerator zones go live here at month's end, what kind of life expectancy can we expect? If a regular zone is good for 12 months, what is the shelf life on an accelerated zone? I can't answer that question. And the reason I can't answer that question is because it does depend on when you apply the accelerator. So if you don't know, read the white paper. There are accelerators we're working on, and the accelerators will do exactly what they are titled. They will accelerate your emissions. When I say emissions, I mean your daily rewards, basically. So 0.1 zeta per zone per day might be 0.12, depending on which one you apply, right? It could be 0.2, right? That will in turn also shorten the life. So we spoke about how a zone basically lasts for a year and then it's gone. Well, that lifetime now goes from a year to a shorter period, but you're getting your tokens quicker. So the concept behind this is that people either want to ROI faster, they want to compound faster to get to the services, or whatever their strategy may be. So we came up with the concept of accelerators, but in order to make sure that the ecosystem is healthy and it doesn't break the tokenomics, the lifespan of the zone is shorter. So overall, you're getting a little less tokens, but you're getting those fewer tokens quicker. So it's a time concept behind it. Because it depends on when you apply it. So let's just say you build a zone right now and then you immediately apply the accelerator, the lifespan is going to be different than if you apply it 6 months after you build it. Okay, that's the reason I can't answer the question, completely. I would encourage you to read the white paper and read the accelerators, and we'll work on seeing what kind of calculator we can come up with in the meantime. It's a tricky calculation, but it can be done. Let's see. Okay, so I'll go to the comments real quick. What is the easiest way to buy into Zeta token? Let me show you. So if you come to our website, zetacapital.com, let me see, I have under news, you can go to our YouTube channel and find this as well, but this is the easiest way. So if you come down here, I have a video that says how to buy and build zones. So in here, I show you how do you buy the Zeta token. So it's 10 tokens for one zone. Okay. That zone earns you 0.1 Zeta tokens per day. You get enough zones and you will unlock these financial services through our wealth management partner. 25 zones unlocks a blue chip equity service, which allows you to take your Zeta tokens that you're earning every day and deposit them into this service, giving you something else to do besides sell. Okay. That then gets traded, and then you'll see a dashboard that will show you your ROI and all that kind of stuff. At 50 zones, you get access to private equity. For example, we own equity in Stripe, Discord, Impossible Foods, Monzo Bank, Starlink Bank. These are equities that are not publicly available on the stock market yet. Okay, so usually you need to be a accredited investor to get access to private equity. We're circumventing that. And at 50 zones, you're allowed to do the same thing. Take your Zeta tokens, put them into the service, and that then gets traded into some private equity opportunities. At 75 zones, you get access to a high frequency trading service, which is algorithms that are trading different markets, such as gold, equities, some crypto, things like that. And it's doing this sometimes in seconds, sometimes quicker than seconds. And again, you can move your Zeta tokens into that. In order to figure out how to buy zones, 10 tokens equals one zone, I'd recommend watching this video, how to buy and build zones step by step. I'm going to make another video. I'll tell you the video I'm going to make while we're talking about this now. I had someone suggest, why don't you make a video that literally shows how to bring your US dollar or whatever fiat currency you have into crypto, move it into MetaMask, set up your MetaMask, buy the Zeta token, buy the zone, literally from nothing to zone. I'm going to make that video. But if you already have crypto set up, watch this video and I explain exactly how to do this step by step. If you still don't know, reach out to me and I'll help you. You can reach out to me on Discord. Just join our Discord. That is at the bottom of our website right here. This little icon. Follow us on the left side is our Discord. You can also just reach out to me on Twitter. If you can't join our Discord, that's fine. And I will give you help. Give you a hand, I should say. Jorge, good to see you too. When does a high frequency trading start? So currently we are targeting the end of October for that to be available. Late October. The blue chip, it was announced on the 25th of August. Okay. So roughly 30 days from the 25th of August. So what is that? September 23rd, I believe. So somewhere in and around there, the blue chip service should be online and functional. Sometime in, I believe it's mid-October, the private equity, and then late October, the high frequency trading, those will be available. So you're still pre-services. Okay. So there were some people that were happy they got in the pre-sale. We're still early. We haven't done any marketing. We don't have the utility live yet. Okay. That's coming. So you're still early in terms of that. Hope that helps. Any other questions, guys? You want to write a comment? Let me know. Let me check the Discord really quick. All Blacks. I got the name. Thank you. He asked one of the questions. I just copy and pasted your name. I'm like, I don't want to even try to say it. Thank you. All Blacks. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm just looking to see if we have any questions at Discord. Let's see. Don't see anything. Okay, cool. Actually, hang on a second. Yeah, no. Okay, good deal. We will go back to our submitted questions. Go ahead and post a comment either on the video, if you're on Twitter, if you're on YouTube, if you're in our Discord. Go ahead and post a question if you have one. We'll get to it. Okay, so Richie Beast 1, powerful name, right? Is there a plan in place to keep the price low? That's a different kind of question. I'll get to that in a second, because especially whenever the services come out, there may be a big price jump. And let's assume $1,000 Zeta token, which means every zone costs $10,000. That is a very high barrier to entry. $1,000 Zeta token isn't that high of a market cap either. Let me just point out something, the maturity in the question, because the maturity in the question is not, so most, I don't mean to broad stroke everybody. It's just excuse my language for a minute. Most people, a lot of people, I'll just say, how do you turn on the rocket ship and make us go to the moon, right? How do we become a $10,000, $20,000 token? The maturity in the question, is there a plan to keep the price low? I would, not to change his question, but I would supplement the word reasonable. Okay, keep the price reasonable. I know reasonable is different for different people, but I would use the word reasonable, not necessarily low, because what's low to you might be high to someone else. I want to be careful because we don't control the price. I want to be very clear about that. Zeta Capital does not control the price. The market controls the price. The buying and selling controls the price. Okay, I can provide suggestions like my my selling video, right? My strategic selling video. I can provide suggestions. I can help you guys maybe understand the buying and selling process, but I can't make you or force you to do anything. And I know there's projects that have tried, and it's extremely manipulative, but we're not going to make you do anything. You can do whatever you want. Because of that, I can't make people buy and I can't make people sell, but I can provide suggestions, which I'm going to show you those suggestions in just a moment as a reminder. However, we have some thoughts in mind to keep the price reasonable. Just like, you know, we have frequently spoke about that we would defend the $100 token price. And you'll notice knock on wood, that the markets are crashing, but we haven't fallen below 100 yet, have we? Right. Show you why in a bit when we get to the profits report. So we have stated that we will defend the $100 token price. By the way, that's because we make money. Projects can't do that because they don't make money, most of them. But yeah, as far as making sure it doesn't skyrocket, we have some ideas in mind. It doesn't involve us dumping on you. It doesn't involve anything like that. We actually have some very unique stuff that we just have thought about recently. And it has to do with the financial services, and I don't want to give it away. I don't want to have, not that you guys would manipulate it, but somebody might. And you'll figure it out over time. I'll just put it to you that way. So yeah, we have some ideas in mind to kind of keep it within a reasonable range, because you're 100% right. I mean, there's projects that everybody wants a token to go to the moon. That's not sustainable, and that's not realistic. I don't think people truly understand liquidity in this space. Okay, the amount of liquidity it takes to sustain a token just double the opening price, just double, is dramatic. So you go 10x higher, you know, I mean, we make money, but at the early stages, we haven't really compounded like you could for 6, 12, 18, 24 months and beyond, where we could sustain that, right? So again, as much as everybody wants rocket ships, we need to be, I would just encourage you, I will say, I'll use that word, to be more realistic token price. Okay. I've seen people saying we're going to be $1,000. Maybe we will, I don't know, but I'm just saying, let's be realistic with our expectations. Let's try to protect the price. I mean, let's work together as a community. I'm going to show you a video that I did on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search Zeta Capital. You'll see the only one that's there. I did a video called Strategic Selling. I would really, if you have not watched this, I would really encourage you to watch it. I know it's 26 minutes. I know it's long. It's really vital. And the reason it's vital is because there's a lot of people who they sell a lot of tokens at one time, and that actually causes them to lose money. Okay, a lot of people don't know this, that there are liquidity, price impacts, and different things that are hurting them when they sell. They're not making the most money they could make. And also, because of the utility that Zeta Capital has, I just want to let you guys know in advance about how your tokens can be used, so that when these services are available, you're not like, well, darn it, I sold all my tokens, so now I got to wait. I just want you guys to be informed ahead of time, so that when the services are open, maybe you have the tokens to right away deposit in there, and you don't even have to impact the market by selling. That is what I always wanted as an investor in crypto. So I'll just talk, I'm going on a rabbit trail just for a brief moment. I think the unique advantage I have, specifically just personally, is that I came as an investor first, a founder second, not even second, technically an investor first, an educator second, and a founder third, really, right? So I bring that up because I've seen projects do things that completely tank it. Okay. I've seen tokenomic mistakes. I've seen personnel mistakes. I've seen investment mistakes. I've seen a lot of mistakes. Okay. It doesn't mean we're perfect. It doesn't mean we won't make mistakes, but I've seen this enough to say, hey, I, as an investor, have always wanted something to do with the token besides selling. There should be an economy. If blockchain and cryptocurrency is to live up to its name of being this anti-establishment, anti-institution, banking, manipulative system thing, then we have to start creating economies, not just a token. And a token, anybody can go and mint a token. I mean, there's software that can mint you a token in 5 minutes. To create utility and an ecosystem and an economy where we accept our own token and it gives you things to do and all together make money is something completely different. And that's what I believe we've done. So in this video, I explain how that's going to work so that when you sell, it's just something to consider. It's not to force anybody to do anything. So please, if you have not watched this, I really encourage you to give that a watch if you would not mind. As a matter of fact, tell you what, go ahead and paste the link right now. Go. If you're on the Zeta Capital YouTube channel, you'll see I just pasted that. If you're not, go over there and check it out. Okay. Again, a long question to a short answer, or a short answer to a long question, excuse me. Sergio's asking, if I have 25 zones, I put my Zeta into the blue chip service, can I withdraw those Zeta at some point? Okay, so you are asking a great question. I want to answer it. So let's say you get access to one of the financial services. Let me bring the image back up. There we go. So let's say you get access to the blue chip service. Okay. You have generated, I don't know, 10 tokens. You move your tokens in. The value is locked in at that moment that you deposit. So let's just say I'll just use easy math. The price is $110 for Zeta. You put 10 tokens in, it's $1,100, right? $1,100 is locked in that moment, that second. So right after that, if the price of the token goes down, you're still at 1,100. If the price of the token goes up, you're at 1,100 at that moment. So you are now trading on US dollar. The moment that you lock your tokens in, it's now US dollar. Okay. That US dollar is put into the service. So when you're talking about withdrawing your Zeta tokens, you're really talking about withdrawing your principal. Now your principal is $1,100, no matter what happens. You have profits, great, but the profits are being generated on $1,100. You can pull your $1,100 out. You could pull your profits out. You could do either or, you could do both, but you're going to get it as USD coin, not going to get it as Zeta, right? So the deposits are made in Zeta, the withdrawals are made in USD coin. Keeps the buying pressure going, reduces the selling pressure, gives you options. You know, you get USD coin. Maybe you want to go and buy more zones. Maybe you want to take it and put it into another financial service. Maybe you want to compound it back in. Maybe you want to go buy the dip. Maybe you want to go buy and finally own Bitcoin. I don't know. That gives you options, right? Instead of, see, if we only accepted USD coin, let's just use that as an example. If we only accepted USD coin, what would happen? I mean, everybody would sell their Zeta. You'd have a giant red candle going down because people would be selling to get their USD coin to then put it in the service. So what we're doing is we're saying, no, we will accept our token that we believe in as part of our own economy. Thank you, Sergio. Sergio says that's a great mechanism. Congrats to the team. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Jake Skip, how you doing? Orca Blue is the first one to comment. Carrie, how you doing? Howdy, Carrie. Omar, hello, Omar. Simon, I guess that it was 2 words. I promise it was 2 words. How you doing? Alex Campo and Pugnis. Thanks for joining. Next question. How many questions do I have left? A couple. Go ahead and post your question, guys. I will get to it. I still have a little bit of time. Then we're going to go into the profits report. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we already answered that one. Let's go to the next one. Moneyman39 says, how often will Zeta be donating to the charity? And is it possible where all the proceeds go to the charity? I love the way you think. What charity is he talking about? Our Zeta YouTube right here. I did an interview with James Project.
I created him.
So there's an ad playing, but I did an interview with James Project. Go ahead and check this out if you don't mind. This is also on my passive aggressive income channel. I just duplicated it and moved it over with a different intro. James Project is a wonderful project. Let's just go to the website while we're at it. Okay, so Tiffany Applegate is one of the ones that runs this project, and this supports abused and battered women and children. I mean, they provide housing, food, education, because the key thing is when people are going through things like this, they need to be reassociated back into society. It's great to provide shelter. It's great to provide food, but how do we get them back into society to live as, you know, people who can live on their own? So that's what they do. They do all of the above. And it is a wonderful Christian organization. I would really encourage you. So I'm actually going to see if we can get them to accept crypto. Working on it. At the moment, there's some different options, right? If you come to donate, you can just see different options on here where you want to donate and things like that. But go ahead and read the programs that they have. They have wonderful programs. I love giving to a charity, and this might come off wrong, but excuse me. I love giving to an organization, a charity that uses the vast majority of the funds for the mission, right? I understand people have to be paid. I understand there's marketing. I get all that, but I love knowing where and how the money is being used. And this is just a wonderful charity. So really encourage you, please check this out. And sponsorships, look at this. You can actually sponsor individual, if you wanted, individual kids that they have. They have 134 sponsorships. Look at this, as young as 0, right? They had, I think a girl, and I might get the age wrong, give birth at the age of 12. Okay, so these are really bad situations. This is a wonderful charity. Check out my interview that I did with them. So I wanted to, that's a kind of a longer answer to the question, but check them out and please consider donating to them if you could. So the question is, how often will we be doing it? So we don't yet have our DEX fully operational. The DEX is being built through a partnership we have with Pangolin. Pangolin is one of our official partners. They are going to be building a DEX for us, a decentralized exchange, like literally an entire exchange for people who may not know what that means. It's going to be a like a separate page that's going to have our own branding and things on it. It's going to be literally an exchange, and that's where you would buy the Zeta token from. As of right now, the function you see on the website is more of a swap feature. It's not a full DEX. So there's just been some delays on that, and we hope to have that done soon. The reason I bring that up is because of the fact that when the DEX is live, we will have a certain percentage that just automatically goes to a charity wallet, which we'll then use to donate right to James Project. That number is being debated. It'd probably be like 1% of all trades. If you look at our volume, 1% is very significant for a organization that operates as efficiently as James Project. I mean, they're going to be able to do a lot with that. I'm going to continue having her on. We'll be going through some progress updates and things like that. We may even send people out to do work, for them in person. So as of right now, we will be donating on a periodic basis, but we're hoping the DEX will be live soon. The DEX is really when it becomes automated, right? And yeah, that'll be built by Pangolin. And there's been some technical challenges. And I won't get into what the technical challenges are, but yeah, that will be done hopefully very soon to support that great charity. Again, please consider supporting them on your own as well. All right. I think this is pronounced giggly. Giggly. 2 questions. The first one is it possible to change the prime zones? I think he or she means the pre-sale zones from 1 year to infinity. Okay, let me answer that first. So I shouldn't even say when DeFi started, when this node craze started, and it started with Strong, frankly, they kind of got the ball rolling. DeFi as a service is really the right word, nodes as a service, whatever you want to call it. And all these projects came out. What I hated and what I despised and what I don't like even to this day, not just that they're called nodes because they're not, is that they kept using lifetime rewards. I kept telling you guys, there is no such thing as lifetime rewards. The saying is the only thing certain in life is death and taxes. Well, that's not even true because people avoid taxes all the time, right? So there is no such thing as lifetime rewards. It does not exist. It cannot exist. It's not possible. So when you're saying infinity, that's not possible. So picture this for a minute. There is a reason why it doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work is because, first of all, these projects will not be around for a lifetime, right? That's the most obvious thing. But from a tokenomics perspective, what is unique about cryptocurrency is that we have a finite number of tokens, right? As opposed to the central banking system that just prints money whenever they need it. It's an infinite supply. There are some cryptos that way. For the most part, cryptocurrency is a finite resource. That's what makes it so valuable. There's only so many you can ever own. When you have 21 million tokens like we have, okay, that means that whenever you take 10 tokens and you build a zone, those tokens have to get circulated, right? They get circulated back to the rewards pool in our instance, because we don't dump tokens like some other projects. They get sent back to the rewards pool, which then slowly trickles out to all the zones every day. Well, when you have a finite number of tokens in existence, you can only do this process so many times before the speed at which tokens are being purchased and zones are being built is so great that it outpaces the supply of the actual tokens themselves. So you will literally get to a point where 0 tokens can be used because they're all sitting in the rewards pool, right? It's called the velocity of money. So it's when money moves. It's a speed of money. In the economy, you take your money you earn from a job, which came from the fact that it was printed, which was then handed down somehow to you, to your employer, which eventually paid you. You take that money, maybe you put it in the bank, or you go pay your bills. It's the economy, the velocity of money, how money is moved. Anytime you have a velocity in a DeFi project, you have a limited window in which that velocity can continue before something has to take place. When you look at like a Bitcoin, for example, it's a store of value. That is really its main purpose. So it's a little different. But when we're talking about a DeFi project where you actually have to take tokens and build something, that velocity can only continue so many times before you run out of tokens. So that's the reason why I hated the word lifetime rewards. Either people didn't know, okay, they don't understand crypto, they don't understand tokenomics, basic economics and finances, or they were just straight up lying. Probably a little bit of both, more of the latter. Zones cannot be infinity. Zones cannot be lifetime. There has to be a set reward. So we built this system because of that, because nothing can be infinite, right? You don't need 600,000 nodes on a blockchain. You don't need that many. You need less than 1,000, not even that many to secure it. Okay, so I bring that up because it's like it was a bragging point, still is, of a project that I won't even mention. You know who I'm talking about. So when we're talking about zones, okay, they can only go so long. So the reason they can only go so long, up to a year, is to create continuous buying pressure. So you don't have like a chunk of people that get in and they just sits there, and then you have new people. But how do you account for the old people that are there? They have to go away at some point. That's what Strong actually did. Now, I don't agree with the way they did it, but I understand that they had to do it. They just could have done it differently. So to avoid all this, I said, make them last a year and make people have to maintain those in order to keep access to the services, which is better than selling the token. Long explanation, but that's it. Second question this person asked. Let's see. We have lots of DeFi projects with great potentials that couldn't deliver what they promised and finally got rugged or went bankrupted. Very true. Let's see. What concerns me is that although Zeta sounds very promising and brought lots of new things to the table, have you guys any plans on how to keep the system running for a long time? I mean, what will happen to Zeta if investors lose their trust? Well, trust is something that I can't control, right? I can certainly create utility. I can certainly make a sustainable ecosystem. We can certainly make money to sustain that, and that's the key point. Trust is something you either have or you don't, and obviously it's going to be dependent on a project delivering. You'll notice a lot of discords become, I use the analogy, it's the inmates running the prison because they just become crazy and it's a big FUD fest. The reason it's a FUD fest is because the projects aren't delivering. It's not Discord. It's not the people in there. It's that the projects are not delivering. So if you're not delivering, then the investors have every right to lose trust, right? Like if a project came in and said, we can do this, and it's delayed and delayed and delayed, and it never happens, or you find out that they did something different or they completely lied, you have every right to lose your trust. So we have delivered on everything up to this point. So if you lose your trust based on the fact that we're delivering, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's not the right place for you to be, and I'll be open about saying that. But as far as, what is our, so it was kind of multiple questions in one. You have any plans to keep the system running for a long time? So there's a problem that I just described, and it's the problem of running out of tokens. So what do you do? Because clearly we're not immune to that. So what you do is you start it over again. So how do you start it over again? Well, it's not rocket science, in my opinion. It's very simple. Once you get to the point, first of all, you have to have your mathematical models done. You have to have them on point. If you don't have your mathematical models on point and accurate, you're screwed. Okay, because you can only mint tokens, create an ecosystem, create smart contracts to give you certain rewards and have the tokenomics built one time. You can make changes, but it's not very easy, right? So you've got to have your numbers and your models and your projections nailed down. Like you really got to have them nailed down. So once that happens, what do you do once you get towards the end? Well, the key is that you know when the end's coming, right? So you can prepare months in advance and let people know what the plan is months in advance. And if you read the white paper that we have, we explain that when we are getting towards the end of the life, we'll simply mint another token. We'll mint another token. Any zones that have not yet expired will get moved over. And here's the key point. Liquidity has to be migrated one for one. So what that means is that if we have 21 million tokens and we have a certain number of tokens in liquidity paired with USD coin, we have to pull that and migrate it one for one so that you don't lose your value. There was a project that recently did this, but they did it very, very wrong. And that's why it ended up crashing the way it did. I won't mention that. But point is that you just do it over again. Now that might eventually run out. There's other ways we have of fixing that. But the point is that you just start it over. It's very simple. It's not like brain surgery, right? So that's, as far as how to make it last for a long time, that's the answer to like the tokenomics question. The answer to like the overall question is that I am not aware of, and I'm sure they exist. So, it's just part of my ignorance, I'm sure. I am not aware of another project that allows you to use this circular reward system in a way where you don't have to sell your tokens. If you know of one, let me know. I'll go look into it. But we have something for you to do. We have accelerators, services, upcoming services, maybe potential whitelist opportunities, different things. I mean, I won't even mention some of the things that we're talking about, but point is that there's something to do with your token inside. It doesn't involve you just dumping on the person that came in before you. Okay. It's the utility that I was looking for. And because it didn't exist, I had to build it myself. I'm on fire. Jorge, you're funny. You're a funny guy. Okay. Tyson is asking a great question in the comments. You're assuming no. You want to know if there's some way to accept Zeta for the membership fee so you don't have to sell to pay the USD coin. No. Let me explain why. So a lot of projects, they'll have maintenance fees or claim fees, whatever terminology you don't want to use. We use the terminology membership fees because it gives you membership into a system that gives you access to something. So we use the term membership fees. It's essentially, people call them maintenance. They call them different things. So let me back up for a minute, even before that. Let me explain kind of the philosophy behind this. So in a lot of other projects, we'll call them node projects. I don't really care what we call them, but they accepted 10 tokens or whatever it may be. In most cases, it was 10 tokens. You give them 10 tokens, you get, we'll call it a node. The problem is a portion of those tokens were going to the rewards pool. Remember, the rewards pool is what trickles out the rewards every day for the nodes. So a portion of the 10 went to the rewards pool. A portion went to liquidity, which can be done, but it has to be sold off. And then a portion went to operations. And operations is how you run the business, how you pay your employees, it's how you pay for marketing, it's how you pay for infrastructure, it's how you pay for development, it's how you pay your bills, essentially, for the company. The problem is, with operations and with liquidity, you have to sell the tokens. As a company, you have to sell your own token. You are forced to do it. You don't have a choice because you can't pay your bills with an XYZ token. You have to have fiat, so you have to sell them to USD coin, cash it out, put it in your bank, pay your bills, all that kind of stuff. So that causes, so it's already bad enough when you don't have utility because you have people trampling over each other to get exit liquidity. They're just selling. They're trying to get the ROI. So everybody's selling on top of everyone else, like a giant, like Black Friday, market sale where everyone's trampling over everybody to get out their exit liquidity. And then you have the company doing the same thing. They're selling their tokens and they're selling it on you as well. And they have to do it. It's not really their choice. They have to because they accept their own token and they sell it. So if we were to do what you're stating, we would have to sell the token on you guys. Okay, so we would have to be forced to be put into a position to say, oh, we've got to pay our bills. We have to sell our Zeta token. Sorry, guys. So how does that work if you're trying to defend the $100 token price? Like, what do you do? Like, let's just say you're at $105, just as an example. What do you sell? I mean, what do you do? You're kind of screwed in a way. You're really painted yourself into a corner. So that's the reason that we wanted everything with USD coin, because we spoke about this. Do we pair with AVAX? Do we pair with something? The pairing by itself is a problem. I'll get into that just for a quick second. So you see these projects that as AVAX goes down, they go down. That's a liquidity issue. That's because their pairing is AVAX. So as the value of AVAX is dropping, the value of their token is dropping with it. So since USD coin is one token to $1, let's pray and hope that stays, forever. We don't have the problem of the crypto market crashing, and we crash just as a result of the crashing, not because people are selling, right? So instead of accepting AVAX for everything, we accept USD coin. Because 15 USD coins always going to be $15. 5 USD coins always going to be $5. Small fluctuations. So that's really the reason. We don't want to sell our token on you guys. It's not fair. It's not right. Projects do it. I understand why they do it, but There's other ways to handle this. And the main issue that they have with handling it is they don't make money. Okay. Hope that answers your question. Appreciate the question. Crypto Cowboy says he loves the idea of having a precious metal investment option. Yep, me too. Yeah, me too. You can also look into Paxos. Paxos has a token that's pegged to gold, and you can actually exchange the token for the gold as well. Yeah, he posted the same thing twice. Yep. Yeah. So it's my intention is to come out with as many services as possible. Is much for you guys to do. I almost look at it sort of like as a city. You come in, you pay your toll. You got shops, you got businesses, you got movie theaters, shopping malls, homes. You use your token all over the place. That's how I view these projects. It's a city. It's not even a village. It's not a village with one thing to do, right? So, okay. I got the last question. So go ahead and post your question if you don't have it, because I can get to it. Dark Lord asked, how fast can we release capital from Gaxis in case the price drops from $100 or we have an investment opportunity? Okay. I don't mean to sound mean when I say this. The question isn't worded properly. And the reason is because when you deposit your Zeta tokens into the services, the USD value is locked in at that point. So $100 token, you put 10 tokens in, it's $1,000 you've now put into the financial services. That value does not change. Right? Now the token can fall, the token can go up. You still have that $1,000 no matter what. Okay, so you don't have to worry about, well, gee, I put my tokens in and gosh, the price is crashing. What do I do? No, you're locked in that moment. You're locked in. Just like when you sell, like if you sold your token and then it tanks, you're like, oh boy, I'm glad I sold. So if you were to lock your tokens into the services, I use the word lock, it's really deposit. If you deposit your tokens in at the service at a certain price and it crashes, same thing. Oh, good. Boy, I'm glad I put my tokens in when I could because price is down now. So I've actually got more value. That's why I said with the strategic selling video, if we all work towards protecting the price, if you have 10 tokens to put into, let's just say the blue chip service or the high frequency trading or the private equity, and you have a $100 token, you have $1,000. If we have a $150 token, you now have 1,500 with the same number of tokens. You didn't do anything different other than the fact that the price went up. Okay, so that's why it's really important to watch that strategic selling video that I made, because of the fact that I'm trying to explain, because this utility doesn't exist, I'm trying to explain this stuff. It's different, and I get it. It's different. However, I will answer a part of this question. So how fast can we release capital? We're looking at once every 30 days for the services. So that's going to be principal, profit, whatever it is you want to pull, right? It can take up to 30 days to receive it. Okay, so let's just say, September 1st, you deposit 25 grand into the blue chip. You got to wait about a month. Okay. You got to wait about a month to get your money out. Right. Hope that helps. Any benefits for owning under 25 zones? Not at the moment. No benefits for owning less than 25 zones. We're working on it. So my goal is to have, so currently 25, 50, and 75. That's a pretty good range, I think. I mean, that's a pretty decent range. Even if you can't afford 25, you can work your way up to it. You can compound and things like that. Once you get 75, it's kind of like, well, what's the next thing, right? I want to have that next thing. I want to have something for the big boys, but I also want to have something for, the little people that don't quite have 25, and then something right in between, maybe those. So we're working on it. I'll just put it that way. The intention is to have a balanced system with stuff way up here and stuff way down here and everything in the middle. That's the intention. So not at the moment. Not at the moment. I'll check the Discord one more time. A different kind of AMA, right? Just a little different. Just a little different. Okay, no questions in the Discord yet. Okay, no worries. Last call, guys, for any questions you want to submit. I'll just scroll up and make sure I didn't miss anything. Last call. I'm working on getting a better studio here, by the way. I know people have described my studio as a dungeon. And I am joking saying, well, people have been tuning in up to this point, not because of the high production quality, but because of the content. So working on having a better studio, a little bit more higher quality camera and sound and background and lighting and all that. Bear with me on that. I apologize. I know it looks less than professional. Sometimes it's better just to get out and talk to people than to wait to be professional, in my opinion. Okay, I don't see any other questions. We're going to get into the profits report. Let me pull it up here. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is the profits report. Let's see right here. So what you're looking at, let me just explain what you're even looking at. So we have a treasury. A lot of projects have a treasury. That's not unusual. That's not out of the ordinary. That's, nothing like that. We don't control the treasury. I mean, I should put it this way. We don't control the investments. Gaxis controls the investments. They're the professionals. They're the only ones qualified to do that. Zeta Capital is not qualified to do that. Okay. We have multiple different services that are used in order to accomplish that. A lot of the same services that you guys are going to get access to, by the way. So we put our money where our mouth is. So we took a amount of money into the pre-sale, and every time you build a zone and pay your fees, half of that goes back into the treasury, which then goes back into the investments again. Okay. So it's a self-feeding system. It's a system that can grow over time. Okay. So what you're looking at is a result of the investments. Okay. So let me first kind of explain what you're looking at here. So the very first thing is that, hang on a second, I'm trying to move something around here. So you're going to see different columns: dates, deposits, withdrawals, HFT, so high frequency trading, private equity, bonds, blue chip. So what we have is obviously the dates, what was deposited on that date, and where it was deposited. So that's why we have, like, for example, right here on August 3rd, you'll see 1,132K and how it was then allocated to the right. So 500K to HFT, basically 250 to private equity, 150 to bonds, 232 to blue chip. So that's how you're reading this if you're trying to read this. So what we have down here, where it says Discord, Stripe, Starlink, etc., is the private equity. This was announced in the Discord when we did it, but we took a portion of the pre-sale funds and allocated them towards private equities. These are equities that you could not buy unless you were an accredited investor and somehow had the opportunity to get into these. Okay. So that's what these are. Now, the reason right here is that there's not an ROI yet is because these are all unrealized profits. So these are reviewed quarterly. That's why it says reviewed Q. Reviewed quarterly to determine what positions we want to stay in and things like that. Okay, so I just wanted to briefly explain that. So you can see here that we have a total of 1.686 million. Okay, now there were some withdrawals. So what were the withdrawals? Well, those were buybacks. We did some buybacks, not a whole lot, but we did some buybacks, just a little bit, right? So again, why can we do buybacks? How is it that we could do buybacks this early on? First of all, in the first month, we didn't do any buybacks at all. How is it that we can do buybacks this early on? It's because we make money. It's really that simple. If you don't make money, you don't have options. If you make money, you have options. So some buybacks were done. So when you're trying to run these calculations, understand that this 125K here was being traded until it was withdrawn, right? So it changes the percentages of ROIs a little bit, but not a whole lot. So if you're trying to calculate this, just kind of keep in mind that it was traded up until the point positions were closed out and things like that. So just on the HFT, we're looking at 29.77% ROI. Let me move this up a little bit. Okay, 29.77% ROI. The bonds had about 1.5% because this is a very stable sort of thing. And the blue chip did lose a little bit. And I'll explain. The blue chip, if you don't know, if you haven't looked at equities, the markets have completely tanked. And it's the reason why crypto is tanking, because crypto follows the equities market for the most part. So equities have just gotten absolutely annihilated. And there was a week that we were break even because there is a current investigation of manipulation on the Forex market. I'll have to go pull the news story for you guys. But nonetheless, what will happen is we'll make up for it, right? As the market moves back up, we're definitely going to make up for it. So you may be looking at this and saying, well, that's not good. So when you look at 15% ROI annually, that doesn't mean every month you're going to make the exact percentage that's going to get you 15% by month 12. It means in a 12-month calendar year, 15% is the calculated performance. It doesn't mean that you're going to make that every single month to equal up to that. So what will happen is you'll have a month where you'll lose 1%. You'll have a month where you'll gain 5%. Then maybe you might lose another 1%. Then you gain another 6%. Things like that will happen, and it will come out to about 15% in a year. So something to keep in mind. That's the reason why, by the way, you have a balanced portfolio managed by wealth professionals, because you have a 29.77% gain, right, on the HFT. And by the way, this is after Zeta pays its performance fees. I want you to keep that in mind. Okay, this is after performance fees. And you have basically a less than 1% loss, which that in of itself is incredible. If you've looked at what equities have done, okay, that in of itself, to only have less than 1% loss is pretty amazing. But then you have a 1.5% gain from the bonds. So technically, this loss is wiped away. You know, it's unrealized, but it's wiped away, right? So that's why you have balances here. You have higher risk HFT. You have medium risk sort of private equity. You have low risk blue chip, and you have really low risk, very stable bonds. It's the reason why you have an overall portfolio, which comes out to 30.28% in profit. Now, I want to show you the private equities because this is important. But before I show that to you, to speak on this 0.99% loss for a minute, I'll give you a business example, something that I would encounter frequently. So I was in e-commerce a lot. You would oftentimes release a new product, and all of a sudden, you know, really the metric you're looking at is your conversion rate. If your conversion rate's good and you're at a profitable price, you're good. You're good. You can move on to your next product and so on. There's more to it than that. That's the general idea. If all of a sudden you release it and the next day, for whatever reason, some person comes and buys 20 units. Why would they buy 20 units? I don't know. Okay, but let's just say theoretically one person bought 20 units. That really skews your conversion rate. It makes it look like, oh my gosh, I got a 90% conversion rate. This thing's going to be killer. And then a couple of days later, you have a 5% conversion rate. But you notice over time, you average about 15 to 20%. If you were to look at it at the high point or at the low point, you'd have very different pictures and very different understandings of that product, right? So I say that because there's a reason, and I'm trying to extend the window a little bit of showing profitability and profit reports, because wealth is a long-term gain. It's not an overnight quick dollar, put $1 in, pull 1,000 out the next day. I hate to say it, kind of crypto mindset we have in crypto and DeFi. This is a sustainable long-term wealth management strategy. So I say that because we're already in profit, because you got to understand, this is basically the month of August. So what are we in now? We're August. What are we? I don't even know. 8, 9. We're already in profit on this right now, the blue chip, right? So again, it's showing this over a longer period of time. And just kind of keep in mind, to have a less than a 1% loss in this market, I could not do that. Okay, I could not do that. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind. Wealth is built over time. It's not an overnight sort of thing. Okay, and this will balance out as we go on. So also you'll notice, so we have profitability in the private equity. It's not listed right here and right here. It's not listed. Main reason is because these are unrealized. They're unrealized profits. If we were to put that on here, this would be higher than 30.28%. It'd be whatever it would be. I don't know. But until these are closed out, you haven't realized a profit. So let me kind of go through this for a minute. So what you'll look at here, and this answers some of the questions. Some people were saying, well, what was the price per share? I know you put 50K in, but how many shares did you get? All this kind of stuff. So you can see that right here. So you'll see that this was, well, here's talk about Monzo. So basically 50K was put into Monzo. It's a bank. Okay. As a matter of fact, Monzo and Starlink are competing banks. So we actually own private equity shares in both, which is pretty cool. So Monzo was $9.50 in pounds, not US dollar. And for 4,562 shares, currently it's valued at 10 pounds. Okay, currently valued at 10 pounds. So there's a profit there. These are all in profit except for Discord, which is a break even at the moment. So the crowdfunding price for Monzo was around 770 pounds, 7.70 pounds. Then they crowdfunded last year for about 13 pounds. Okay, but the way the markets have been, we got in at 950, even though they were selling this exact same thing for 1350 a year ago, just literally a year ago. So we got at 950, 13 pounds a year ago. So this is the price this quarter after the markets have taken a hit. So when the markets reverse, when there's another bull market, when there's another uptrend, we'll likely revisit that 13-pound mark, maybe even higher, depending on how they pump the markets, because they will. It's just a matter of time. It's what the central banks do best. And these are not publicly available to the retail. These are private equities. This is like if you were an accredited investor and you were able to get access to the private equities. Now, I will mention, in the private equity service, you are not getting the equity. You're trading on profit, or you're trading on like USD. Okay, you put your Zeta in, it becomes USD. That gets traded. Nobody's sending you the equity. I just want you to understand that. What we're looking at here is the Zeta Capital Fund. This is the investments for the overall business and project. So Stripe. Let's go to Stripe. Let's just pass Starlink for a minute. Although you'll see we're in profit on Starlink as well. Pretty good. But Stripe. So Stripe is down about 64% from its all-time high. Okay. The valuation decreased massively, so we were able to get a good deal on it. But it's really interesting because we almost did this at just the right time and the markets were crashing and coming down. We were able to get the private equity, which is before it ever gets listed on any kind of public exchange. We were able to get the private equity at a good price, right? So Stripe is in very good profit. So Discord is a break even at the moment. It hasn't gone up, hasn't gone down. It's just kind of been maintaining. Impossible Foods was at $24. Okay, we got it at 15. It's currently 17, and 3,333 shares of it. So all of these are, if we were to include these, okay, we would have more profitability in here. But because positions aren't closed out, but because this is private equity is something that takes time. This is definitely more of a hodl mentality, or a hodl strategy, I should say. You'll see we are actually in profit by 20,716, which is about 8%. My math is right. Yeah, about 8%. So you could theoretically add that 8% in here. You would have an unrealized 8% profit on top of all this, right? So I'm just trying to see if there's anything else to cover. So probably should cover this. So you may be wondering, how are the values on something that's not quite available on the public market? How do they determine the current values? The current values are determined on reevaluations of the company. So companies are reevaluated periodically, and there are OTC deals that are done to get into private equity. That's typically how private equity happens. It's all OTC, over the counter. And so this is, reevaluated based on that, and that's the profitability that you're in. And by the way, these are conservative figures, right? So, this is all conservative here, because these can easily go up when they're put out on the public. So there you go. I mean, this is the profit report for August. This is something that I want to stress is going to be done periodically, right? Because we have a understanding and a mindset that, we want to put in $1 and make a whole lot in a day. And wealth is a game. It's a game of cash flow. It's a game of, there's a statistic, and I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's something like, if a penny is doubled every day, it becomes like $1 million in 1 month, I think is the number. I might be off on that. So a penny every day doesn't seem like a whole lot. Double. You may say, why would I want to double a penny? It's that idea that if you were to double a penny every single day, that it would become $1 million in a very short period of time, right? So the idea is, let's make the business profitable. Let's take the instruments that we would invest in, right, and bring that to you, okay? To get instruments like this, you would need tens of millions in net worth, tens of millions of dollars. Like, I don't have that. I'm assuming you don't have that. So this is a way of circumventing that, so that you guys have utility that has not yet existed in DeFi yet. Okay, so let's just see if you guys have any last questions. Just gonna scroll through. One moment. Burning Ice from our Discord says, I just want to say that I consider Zeta my one-stop shop for financial services, including the most conservative up to the most risky. Am I okay relying on that? That's up to you, man. But I mean, I don't know of any other project in the space offering this, so I don't know what the options are necessarily for that. If that makes sense. Hope that answers your question, but no, I can't tell you what to do, man. I can't tell you what to invest in. I can't tell you how to invest. I can't tell you what to rely on. I can't tell you what is or isn't guaranteed. I can't tell you any of that stuff. So the referral system. So yes, we are going to have a referral system. It'll be out soon, very soon. That's all I can say on it. I'll have some information on the referral system, probably, yeah, give me a couple days at most. Abram Nightwing, I think I'm saying your name right. Zeta rocks. Thanks so much for all you and the team have done. Can't wait to see the future months ahead. Me too. Really excited. You know, I'm drinking something for energy right here. However, when you are running a project that you love, when you are running a project that you believe in, and when you are running a project that you know can work, and you know is giving something that does not yet exist, that you've always wanted, that can potentially be life-changing, you jump out of bed in the morning, to be very frank with you. That's the reason why the team puts in 25-hour days. The reason the team puts in 25-hour days is because when you're excited about something, you have a new pep in your step, so to speak. You have a new vigor, right? To saying that word right? And then I read these stories about how people have gotten hurt in projects, and it literally makes me want to cry sometimes to read them. And say, how can we do better? How can we take what the future of tech is, which is blockchain, and apply DeFi, decentralized finance, to it with traditional finance? And how can we make that technology that we all know is the future actually live up to its name? And in many cases, it has. There's projects that have done a phenomenal job. I would say they're few and far in between. They are the exception, not the rule. So we have projects that are just, in some cases, I'm literally going to say they're screwing people left and right. Right? It's literally hurtful to watch it. And I say, how can we do better? So when you built something like this, and it's not me, it's the whole team, you have a new energized spirit, right? Because you know what it is that you're doing is succeeding on the different areas that other projects have failed, right? Now, maybe that's I wouldn't say the convenience, because it's not convenient to watch people lose money, but the convenience of seeing projects fail is that you can fix what they couldn't, right? And more importantly, we can fix for the people. See, I look at sort of a traditional business hierarchy. A lot of people would put the top dogs at the top. We're the founders. We make we call the shots, and we're the top dogs at the top of this triangle. It's really a pyramid, right? That's a typical business structure. Although I like to take the pyramid and flip it upside down, where I'm lifting other people up. Because if the person who thinks they're on the top is lifting the people below them, I use the word below them, up, they can be successful, and the founders, the project will be as successful as a result if you put the community first. If you help enough people get what they want, you will get everything you want, except we have projects that have done the opposite. So if there's no other questions, it doesn't look like there's any other questions, I think we are going to wrap it up with this. I want to thank you for tuning in. We're going to have some information coming out in the coming days on the referral system. We're going to have some information coming out on the blue chip past performance, and just allow you to really see what it is that we are doing. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And until next time, God bless and take care.